Mic on. Hello, hello. We're just getting started, so we got to make sure you can hear us, you can see us, we can hear ourselves, that everything is coming through from our spaceship out in space.
I'm in love with you guys.
I'm in love with myself. Does that count?
It absolutely does. That's even better.
The love is abounding. So
had kind of video stuff became really expensive and sought after right as COVID hit. And I had built like my first video rig like literally 2 months before COVID hit. I had finished putting it together, and then like everything was out of stock right after that. And I was like, man, it's the first time in my life where my timing is like, I want to say good because that feels like not nice to say, but given the circumstances, but like
tricky, yeah.
we know what you mean. We understand.
Yeah,
totally.
All right, I'm downloading it now, but if there are questions you guys see that you just want to throw at me until I get this working.
There's just a lot of excitement that you joined us. Very excited. Lots of emojis.
I have to say, speaking of I heard the conversation about your merch beforehand. Your guys' merch, I mean, I know Techmoan has played your records and stuff and on his show, and also your Buchla blank panels are fire. So for my Twitch listeners at home, I'm repping it, and so is the most famous British man over the age of 60 on YouTube. He's also repping it.
Oh my god, I love that you're dropping stuff about us coming onto our space. That's amazing. How generous. How kind. We appreciate you.
Which leads me to my first question.
There we go.
MIDI Lizard.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the name.
Yeah, like what's up with that?
So I had a professor in college who kind of became a mentor. He ran the studio that I worked at and was sort of like the main recording professor. And his name is Michael Johnson, and his moniker, his artist moniker, is Ape School, for any like indie like I don't want to call it outsider, but like bizarre indie music from the late 90s, early aughts people. Look up Ape School if you're not familiar. It's really good stuff. But his side project and sort of what he was focused on when I met him, 18-year-old me, no idea what I wanted to do, was something called the MIDI Wizard. And MIDI Wizard was like this crazy live rig that he built with all of these MIDI loopers and like audio loopers and like an MS-10 and like all these eventide effects. It was just, I remember seeing him like do rehearsals with it, and it just blew my mind. And from then on out, I like wanted to emulate that and figure out how to do that version of that for myself. And I was like, okay, well, I'm never going to be the MIDI Wizard, but be the MIDI Lizard. And I have friends who have told me that I'm very lizard-like. So, and I don't really necessarily want to get into the reasons why, but so the name just kind of, I made that my Instagram handle like a freaking decade ago. And yeah, it's kind of just stuck, and it has a nice ring to it. And like, yeah, so I just kind of roll with it. I wouldn't like consider it too cerebral, but yeah, that's the backstory.
Oh, I love that.
Would you consider a lizard your spirit animal?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking too. And just we had a quick question because you brought up the panels. We don't currently have any blank panels that I know of. There's none available in the shop right now.
Well, there's 1, 2, 3.
The only ones we have would be
there's 7 of them
in Augustus's
are actually going to become available in about 4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks. Okay, that's probably how long it would take for us to get more anyway.
And Dwarger, I think, was actually referring to the fact that I was selling my Buchla case a while back.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a different case coming through.
We definitely have, obviously, Buchla in common, which is not as common with our online synth friends. So when we find someone who has a love of the Buchla, it just lights us up even more.
Yeah, I mean, it's I feel like it's gotten a little bit more happening, especially since I kind of got into it, because like, as I'll show off at some point during this, like I have what I refer to as like a bastard easel. I have the 208C, which is like the new synth voice, and then I have one of the 218Es, which is like the keyboard they did in like the 2000s, I guess, or like 2012. And then I have a restored case from this guy Luther Rochester, who's like if you're a Buchla person, you know Luther. He's like in all of the groups. He's on all of the forums. He's just like a mensch, you know. And
yeah, that's definitely the thing about if you're into Buchla, then you definitely know everyone who's manufacturing any aspect.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I think it's had like a revival. I think that like the you know, with people like 1979 who just like dropped a new module that looks sick, and like the fact that Buchla is like making new stuff.
Yeah, there's
yeah,
definitely a momentum right now that felt like it like stopped and started a few times, and then
yeah.
recently has like taken off because of the man behind the curtain, if you will.
Absolutely. And like I mean, your guys' stuff is certainly a little bit more like true. Like when I listen to some of your stuff and I see what you do, I think you're very much like carrying the torch of like the Buchla ethos and like, you know, that West Coast idea, and like tape, you know, the San Francisco Tape Music Center and stuff like that, which I think is really sick. And when I first started like thinking about trying to get the 208C, like I remember seeing some of your guys' stuff and being like, okay, like I mean, I went to school for music, so I was aware of a lot of it, but you know, seeing there's like Morton Subotnick stuff, which is like awesome, but it's from the 60s, you know, and then you hear
Right.
people doing it today and it's like, oh, this is like viable, like this, you can make really interesting stuff in 2020 with these tools. So yeah, I mean, I think that's like, you know, the Buchla community is it's very friendly and very welcoming, and there's like a lot of people who are just like these alchemic old wizard types who just share information, which is cool.
Exactly. It's I would say there's not a sense of like gatekeeping or like hierarchy or anything like that. It's just like enthusiasm and generosity. From my experience, I mean, there's nuances within that, but I think you're right that it's like part of the fun is that you get to like connect with these people who you're like, wait, they're still alive, they're still on the internet, they're like sharing information and like being chill.
Yeah, it's definitely like it's a lot more, it's like the video art community is similar to this, which, you know, I'll talk about that too. Yes. But like, yeah, there's more of a sense of like of discovery, and like there's more of a sense of history, and like people tend to have a lot of vision, you know, like I don't know, not to say that other communities don't have those things, but like I don't know.
Well, this is the one we know, so I guess that's why we'll like, talk about it that way.
It's cool. It's like always nice for me to be like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm gonna go like ask a bunch of people on the internet, and to not get like shat on for it. Where like I don't know about all other internet communities.
All other, even even in music, even in electronic music specifically.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything about any other modular formats, but
right, exactly.
I'm always the nicest people in those worlds.
What part of the country do you yield from, Grant?
I am currently in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So yeah, I've been.
I was gonna say, anyone who says currently, which is what we always say, means you've been other places. So what's the journey?
So I grew up just outside Philadelphia. I went to the University of the Arts, which is like the little art school in Philly that had the fourth Moog modular ever built there. So that's like, that was my first introduction to electronic music, if I could speak correctly.
That's sweet.
So I've been in Philadelphia basically on and off since 2011, 2012. I was in Brooklyn. Sorry, my microphone's janky, so that's why it's cutting out. I was in Brooklyn for 2 years, from 2017, 2.5 years, to the end of 2019, doing my MFA at Brooklyn College, where I studied with Morton Subotnick a little bit. Interesting guy.
We were living there at the same time. That's so crazy.
Nice. Yeah, it was a cool. I'm like really happy that I was there during that era, because like I feel like it's a lot different now post.
Yeah, we left like literally right before.
Yeah, we left before as well. Yeah.
That's so crazy. So you were studying with Morton?
Yeah, so I had a private lesson with Morton. I was at Brooklyn College doing the Sonic Arts MFA. And there's some insane like honestly, Morton was cool. I like went to his studio in like Westchester, like just outside of the city. Really crazy guy. Like I met like Joan, his wife, and like it was crazy experience. I don't know if I learned that much, if I'm being completely honest.
He loves to
like
talk,
it was cool.
right?
Yeah,
he loves
like it was
to tell
cool.
stories.
Yeah, like he was pretty outlandish guy, but like sharp as a tack, interesting guy. And it was just cool, like, it was just cool to like study with somebody like that who's like seen it all, and like he definitely like plays into his legend a little bit, but like in a way that is sort of endearing. I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
have classmates who feel differently about him, but like I
Mm-hmm.
vibed with him and thought he was funny, and like we got along. So yeah.
That's so cool.
Uh,
Joan was doing like we were living in Brooklyn and we like popped into a coffee shop one day and there was like a flyer for a Joan LaBarbera concert, but it had happened the night before.
yeah.
And I've never been so crushed because she's like my pinnacle.
She's cool. I mean, she's super. You know what the story I like tell my students and stuff when I teach and stuff is like when I went to Morton's studio, like Joan was just chilling there in their hallway, like not even like a really notable spot in the hallway. They have a giant picture framed of Morton, Joan, and John Cage sitting on the beach together, like chilling on the beach, like family port, like really, really just the most kind of. I was like kind of just blown away by this photo because it's not one you like ever see anywhere, but it was like really high resolution, really cool picture. Um, and yeah, and it was easy to like forget that they're like these are like the people who like the books are written about that you're chilling with. But no, Joan was honestly a little bit cooler than Morton, if I'm being honest.
Naturally.
Oh man, she's the coolest.
Going back to the 208C and like influences and how you very much like made us feel great by saying that
I know,
we had
right?
something to do with the fact that you inspired
So nice.
we inspired you about Buchla, but like who inspired me originally on getting an easel was Charles Cohen, who actually yields from the
Philly.
Philadelphia area. And so yeah, like I just thought
there's some threads.
That was my main dude, in terms of like inspiration
in the 21st century.
Yeah, it's R.I.P. But
Yeah, he's a legend around town. I'm doing a residency at this art space called Fidget right now. And it's run by a composer and a choreographer, but the composer, who is the one I work with, his name is Peter Price. Really sneakily, very unassuming, and you don't really realize how impressive his resume is until you like talk to the guy. But he was like, when I first met him and we were talking about Buchla stuff, he was like he was like super close with Charles, and like that's something you notice when you're in Philly and you like get you start to do stuff like in this experimental electronic world, like you meet people who are like friends with Charles. Like
I've always heard that. Yeah,
we even experienced that like when we were living in DC. We were playing shows with a community that had moved from Philly to DC, and they actually brought Charles to a house show.
Yeah, we were fortunate enough to see him.
And like we're just sitting like
show.
right here in like a living room in DC, and like hanging out with all these people, and we're just like, how did this happen?
That dude rocks the easel, or rocked the easel,
yeah.
like beyond belief. Like
but it was that same ethos of they were like, I was like, how did you get him to come here and all? And they're like, oh, we're just friends. Like if you live in Philly,
you know him.
You're just friends.
Yeah, he's around.
I bought a bunch of the program cards because that was his secret with the easel, was like his program cards, and I've been like trying to like reverse engineer some of his sounds and stuff, and it's just like you can't really like there's this one video where he's at the big, I forget the name of it, the big modular shop in Berlin. The funniest thing about the video is at the end he's like, questions, and no one asks any questions, and he's like, come on, someone's got
Schneidersladen or whatever.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I knew the name of it in my head because I've read it, but I didn't want to say it.
Couldn't get it out. You were bold enough.
Yeah, he like had a bunch of his car, and like some of the sounds he was making with the cards as he would like flip through them were just like crazy. So I
remember those cards.
Definitely an inspiration. He's definitely him, and like Todd Barton, obviously, and Cortini, another one who's up there. Those are like that's like the holy trinity.
Yeah, talk about wizards.
Yeah, for real.
We said it here.
Yeah, Todd's somebody that we've been, I guess, friends with for a while now, and somebody that I remember we saw him perform at NAMM really early on.
Yeah, actually that video came up in my phone as like a memory the other day.
He was at the Buchla booth. I think it was like 2013 when the reissue of the easel came out.
And just ripping it.
And he was ripping it, and that was the first time that we met him, actually. And
we saw him in Brooklyn.
We've seen him play a few times since then.
I can't remember who it was with, but it was like a whole night of experimental music at that really cool venue. I can't remember anything right now. But yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, he's one who like I've never met him in person, and I've never seen him live or anything like that, but like we have had like comment back and forths on Instagram.
Yes, that's what this is all about, right? Like we have all these like versions of friendships with people that we've never met in real life, and like sometimes we get to like have these rare meetings, but mostly it's all like on the internet, and that's like such a bonus of the era we live in, but also starts to make you feel like, is this real? Like it's all.
I think
we're back on topic. Yeah, suddenly and miraculously we're back on topic. Yeah, like the synth friend stuff. Is it real or is it faux?
I like to believe it's real. In the I'm a big vaporwave guy. And I think like what's real, what's imagined, like what's memory, what's false memory. It's all fishbowl.
It's all real.
Of oil and water and dyes, so like I think it's real personally.
Sweet. All right, that's the verdict for this evening. It's real. Looks like the chat is just very happy that we're talking about Buchla. Might be new easels for sale within the next year. Like real easels, or like what are we talking about here?
I think it's going to be an upgraded version from the 2013 model, but
I have a friend who, well, I hesitate to call him a friend because we're not close, but somebody who I knew from my old dealings at a music shop I worked at, who's like the product guy, sales guy at Buchla. And I found this out because I emailed him and he like signed his name, and I was like, wait a second, I know you. But I asked him about.
Is it Nick?
Yeah, it's Nick. It's Nick Qua. Yeah. He was the Korg salesperson for a long time in the music shop I worked at. He would like come do demos at. But
oh, cool.
Yeah, but I asked him in an email. I was like, "Yo, when's the 218 dropping?" Because it was before I got my 218E, and I was like, I wanted one.
How long ago did you get your 218E? Because I sold mine not too long ago.
I overpaid for it from a gentleman in Sweden.
Okay. Yeah, that wasn't me.
I got it about a year ago. Yeah.
I don't think I sold it to you, but
I wish you did.
It would have been a little bit less in the shipping, at least.
Well, yeah, I mean, I got like a pretty decent amount for it. Like, I think I got like sticker price.
Yeah, I'm jealous of you. I had to swallow my price pride on the 218. They're so rare. They don't come up. Yeah, and I wanted the one with the arpeggiator. Like I wanted the 218E, like the most recent one. Which funnily enough, like interestingly enough, I actually don't even really use the arpeggiator that much, but like I really wanted it because I thought I was going to use it all the time. They never come up for sale. Like they're so rare. The LEM 218Es are like, they're borderline on Uptanium. Like it's kind of crazy.
I could have gouged for mine, and I just didn't want to. I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna just sell it. I'm gonna sell it at sticker price because that's what I would want to pay.
There's an ethos, I think, to the community as well. Sometimes is like because it's so small.
Yeah.
You kind of have to be careful about buying and selling prices
and
stuff.
In Buchla land, I agree with that, and I think with video synth stuff, it's the same. It's the same thing where you're like, it's everyone knows everyone, and like you don't want to be that guy, and so yeah, we don't do that to each other. We don't play that.
It's
way.
Really, you have to tread lightly. So Helper Monkey's asking, would this be different from the new easel Buchla had at KnobCon last year? Oh, you went to KnobCon last year. I haven't been following whether those came out with all the current troubles. I want to know what the current troubles are too.
Yeah, they're still in production. That's the one I think we're talking about is like the most recent, like the their new flagship easel, and it's still in production hell a bit, I think, because of stuff. It's the keyboard. I think they're like completely redesigning the keyboard from what I understand, and like with the IC shortage and like all that. Like,
right, those troubles. Okay.
My biggest thing about the one I saw at NAMM, at least, is like, you guys got to put some rounded edges on those cases or something. Like that case seems super weird to me.
Yeah, I don't like the black plastic cases, which is why I got the Halliburton, like the restored Halliburton one, because like to me that's the easel kind of. That's like
Right.
the Sage kind of, walking down the street in San Francisco in 1979 vibe. And
Yeah.
I don't like the sharp edge. Yeah, I don't want the sharp edges on my easel.
As long as your power
No
supply
sharp edges.
works, it's all good.
Yeah. Oof. We don't have to go too deep into that.
NC.
Let's see. Oh, yep. DWOJR saying that they also miss the arpeggiator. We feel you. Yeah, horrible supply chain stuff.
I miss the arpeggiator sometimes. It was sick. I liked the implementation of it, actually. But using, I don't know if you've heard of the Scorp Pyramid.
Yes.
But I use that now, and it works pretty well for the arpeggiator and note repeat and all that stuff. So
I like I said, as I alluded to a moment ago, like I really wanted the arpeggiator. I thought that was going to be a huge thing for me. I like almost never use it, and when I do use it, I use it for the random like thing. So I'll just like put my hand on the keyboard and just turn the random on. Yeah. So maybe you're not missing out on that much. I don't know. I thought for sure, I was like, man, this arpeggiator is going to change my life, and it did not change my life. So
you heard it here, folks.
I abused it when I had mine. I will say, like, it was because I have a MIDI synced rig, and I had like a MIDI synced looper, and so it was perfect for me because it was like a way to basically get like synced up sequences, with it, so it was really important to the way I worked when I used it. But I've kind of gotten away from that particular workflow, so now it's not something, I don't have it, so it's not something that I use at all. But I don't really miss it, considering what I've replaced it with. But
yeah, totally.
Do you like any sports, man?
Yeah, man, I'm a huge Flyers fan. Go Birds! I'm a huge Eagles fan. I got no qualms about bleeding green, and I don't really want to talk about the Flyers if there's any hockey fans.
And before I call you man, what are your pronouns?
He, him. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Glad I guessed right.
Yeah,
we usually like to say that at the top, but we've been a little lax this evening.
I apologize for that. Actually.
No worries. No, I'm into sports. I don't know if do you guys have are you guys like sports enjoyers? Is that where we're going with this?
I am a huge WSL fan, World Surf League.
I was gonna say that was the most pretentious way of saying that.
I'd have to be like, yes, WSL. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I was born in Florida, and so always been around the ocean. And recently went to Hawaii and got like the fire rekindled.
We got indoctrinated
because my buddy Dan is really into it, and so
he likes
this year I've been following surfing closer than I've followed any sport in my life. So I'm all about it. The finals are coming up in September.
It's really fun, and
so I'm really into it.
I gotta say that I don't know anyone who's into surfing, and I think that that's a very cool sport to be into. And I know
of all sports.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. But
it's a blast, dude.
So
I highly
fun.
promote it. I highly recommend it. I don't want to seem pretentious. Like, everybody should be into surfing. They are the most like. They care about the environment, like they're just chill fucking people. Like, even the announcers, like, I like agree with everything they say, and like I've just been really impressed by just the overall vibe of the professional sport of surfing. Like, I thought maybe like there'd be like, once you get into it and you start following it, like maybe everybody's like a egotistical narcissist or something, but everybody's actually really humble. I was gonna say cool
the ocean definitely humbles you. I think the nature,
it's a humbling sport. I mean, it's so dangerous and so like fucking crazy. Like, every time you go out there, you're basically taking your life into your hands, and like, so I guess there's something about that. And
you also like don't know, like, from, well, we're gonna get so into this now. Like, hour to hour when you're out there.
Had to steer us away from
timing,
Buchla.
Right? Like you can't predict like what the waves are going to be like. So it's a very like you're on the edge of your seat, like the whole time, because I don't know. I think our experience of like being in Hawaii, and like our friend is super into it, so he like took us on this like beautiful experience to like the perfect surf spots where we like watched big wave surfers, and like you just have, it's like the most chill experience. And
yeah, it was a heck of a way to get indoctrinated.
Yeah, it indoctrinates you for sure.
But then I feel like it's probably like you get bit, like you have a semi-religious experience with it, and then you're like, oh, I feel like that's what I imagine. It's like it's almost like a psychedelic experience. There you
go. Crossover.
I did not expect, like, once I actually got into it and started watching it consistently, that it would make me so happy, like just watching it, like even the commentary and like
you're watching these beautiful vistas.
Everything about it just makes me smile from ear to ear. So I was like, all right, I guess I love the pro sport of surfing. Okay.
Yeah, like a helper monkey saying in the chat, like he needs to go read up on it, because like how do they decide who wins? And this is kind of what I was going to say, is that it's like an art form. I guess it's similar to gymnastics in a way. There's like a panel of judges and there's criteria, but it's like all very subjective, and it's like art and athleticism. Like, but
also not, if like you really follow it, you start to realize that it's less subjective than you think it is. Like once you really start paying attention to the criteria of the
criteria. That's the word I was looking for, criteria. But at the end of the day, like they still have to make their calls, and I think it's as subjective as it gets.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Pacific Ocean is really cool, and so I think surfing, like, I don't know, like I think like I wanted to go to Hawaii forever, and like at some point, like my partner and I are like we'll go, but like I don't know, something about like Polynesian vistas and like neon and like sun over the horizon of water, like that stuff is just like so. I played too much like Dreamcast, like Sonic games back in the day, and like that like of like water, like a water world with like like, so to me, like surfing, like I could totally see like getting a little absorbed into that aesthetic and like being into it.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, because watching it, like for instance, the last match was in Tahiti, and I've never been to Tahiti, but I really want to go, and so it was just like so cool to get.
And they'll tell you like the history, and
hear like, all the little factoids and stuff, along with watching people surf in a beautiful place, and it doesn't get old. Doesn't get old. Yeah, I agree.
It feels very zen. Like I'm not like really a big baseball fan, but like I feel like when I do watch baseball, there is like a sense because there's no clock and there's like all this internal logic to the sport. It is very like meditative, and I feel like watching, like if I was sitting on a beach just like watching surfing, I feel like I would find myself in like a trance like state potentially.
Exactly. That's exactly it. You nailed it. So speaking of like beautiful visuals, we want to know everything about what you're doing with Video Synths and the liquid light show stuff. It's like very dreamy.
I'm blown away by those posts.
I also
honestly. Like they're so cool. Like the kaleidoscopic oil stuff is just so sick.
Not to interrupt ourselves, but I did get that little pop-up that we have 10 minutes left on the Zoom, which just means we'll pop in and out. Like you're not kicked off in 10 minutes, but the Zoom will stop and start. Just for everyone watching, that's what's happening when we lose you for a minute. But yeah, I definitely want to get into that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like I can kind of my journey in video started. I had a couple friends in Philly who were like really into it, and they like kind of showed me some stuff. Bobby Farrow being like the main guy, if anyone is like familiar with video people. But I did a residency at this place called Signal Culture, which used to be the Experimental Television Center. And I like walked into the main, I was the tool maker in residency, because I used to design, when I was in college, I wanted to start my own synthesizer company. And so I like learned how to read schematics and like built all this stuff point to point from scratch. And like, it was an amazing experience. And like, I learned a ton, but it turns out that it's really, really, really hard to like make a manufacturing business profitable. So anyone out there who's like
Shocker.
complaining about prices of gear, it's like it's really, really, really hard to like make money doing that and it be not like milled out to bad places that don't pay their workers. So anyway,
That's it right there.
I digress. Yeah, so like I was a toolmaker in residency at this place called Signal Culture, and I walked into the main studio and it was like these walls of video synthesizers. Like it was like my first time seeing the Moog modular, which kickstarted my electronic music journey, but this time it was with video, and I immediately was just like, okay, well, I need to learn everything there is to know about this and I need to get into this. And so this was like early 2019. And so I got like a video mixer, an analog video mixer, and I got like a Vidiot from LZX, and I started to just collect stuff. And I couldn't stop. I was addicted to it. It's really like, you start to see these patterns and it's very like, yeah, it's just mesmerizing. And so I got into the liquid light stuff about a year ago because I was just, I don't know, like I wanted to try it because that's like the progenitor of video. Well, it's not the progenitor, but it's like, a lot of video synthesizers were like,
they're trying to kind of an emulation.
Yeah. And like there's something really you can just get so many like cool effects with those that you can't get with After Effects, or you can't get with the video synthesizer, analog or digital. So yeah, I mean the video synth stuff is just an ongoing, like I just collect LZX modules whenever they come up for sale because they're so damn difficult to track down. Although they're releasing a bunch of new stuff now, so that's cool. And the liquid stuff is I learn every time I do it, I like learn something new. It's like, and the community for that stuff is crazy, and like super helpful. And it's like sort of similar to the Buchla vibe, where there's just these dudes who did it for the Allman Brothers, or literally like did it for the Dead. And they are like the ones who are like, hey man, like I see you're asking about your oil to water ratio, like try using isopropyl alcohol instead, like stuff like that, where you're just like, how would I know that? There's no way you'd ever know that unless some like wise sage master
Absolutely
with you.
So interesting. Truth be told, I don't even know if I've ever told you this.
Ooh.
But I actually did like a random gig one time for a guy that was making a music video that I was friends with, and he had me doing oil projections the whole time as my gig, as my job.
You've literally never told me this. That's insane.
I did not know what I was doing at all, and I feel like I'm saying we because like he didn't know how to coach me into doing it either, really, but like we did a shitty job of it.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Just to say, yes, it's harder than it looks.
And I had never even heard of it when I did this. I mean, this was a long time ago. I don't even want to tell you how old I was because it won't seem like it should be that long ago.
It was 1969.
Yeah, but I did it one time, and I was amazed at how hard it was to get some like okay results. You know what I mean? So like, yeah. I think that's why I'm so blown away by what I'm seeing coming from you, because I know that just it's way harder than it looks.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult. It's extremely time consuming, and it's not the thing I love about like video synthesizers is like I turn it on and it does its thing, and I don't expend resources while I'm doing it. Where like video synthesizers, or excuse me, oils, it's like these are my dyes, and these are the dyes I have, and they're expensive, and I only have so much of them, so I need to like figure out how to like. Yeah, it's just, and you need to like clean stuff up, and like I've spilt a bunch of it on my carpet and like stuff like that. So it's like this much more, it's really like what I imagine like, ceramicists or like painters deal with, but it's still this, this time-based medium because you're recording it or you're projecting it or whatever, but it has a lot of the same kind of material issues that like a traditional like visual gallery art might have. And it's exhilarating when you get it right. When you nail it, it's like it's ecstasy, right? But yeah, it's hard. Like I think people don't necessarily realize how tricky it is to do it correctly. And like for every one of my clips you see, if anyone looks me up that looks cool that you enjoy, there's like literally 3 hours.
I was gonna say you make it look very easy.
Because y'all are getting the highlight reels. You're getting in like, in the surfers in the pipe, those are all the videos
Yes.
you're getting. You're not getting the videos of me like with the oils looking like brown mud, like not getting any of that. So I'm trying to I'm thinking I might start doing like a little series talking about it for TikTok where I'm like, because I'm trying
Oh,
to
that's dope.
where I talk about like kind of how you can get started in the process. But because it is cool, because it's like in theory you don't have to spend a lot of money on it. Like you really don't. You need clock face glasses for the squish plates, and you need candle or soap dyes and mineral oil and isopropyl alcohol. Like that's really all you need. Obviously you're going to want to invest in nicer stuff eventually, but that's the thing I think that's cool about it, is it's like, with Buchla and LZX and all this stuff, like it can feel a little bit like you can kind of become detached from your practice, because it's like, okay, like I know this piece of gear, but it's also how much of this is the gear and how much of it is me. Where like with the oil stuff, it's like, maybe it's all you. Like it's really like you're kind of I feel like a jazz guy or something, like
I love it.
but yeah, so it's cool. I mean, I encourage anyone who's interested in it, like Liquid Light Labs, if you look him up on YouTube, Steve, I don't know his last name, but he has all these videos breaking down not only like how to get started, but also like the history. And it's really cool. It's a cool series of videos. So
That's dope. Well, I would love to see your TikTok channel where you do this, because I bet it would be very like relaxing and like, mesmerizing, I think was a word we used earlier. But I also would love to see like a blooper reel of like how hard it actually is and like messing up all this stuff.
I used to live on the third before I moved into this spot I'm in right now, which I just moved for the audience, which is why this is like a weird setup. I had a bathroom on the third floor, which is where I was living, but like the sink barely worked. So every time I needed to clean the plates, I'd have to walk down like 3 flights of stairs and like climb over a doggy gate, because my roommates had 3 dogs. Like, so it's just like even more. So now when I do it, it's like the kitchen's right over there. And like you can see my partner walking around, and it's right there. And this is where I do it. So it's like it's getting better. We're slowly getting better at it, but it's definitely like it reminds me of like learning to play guitar when I was like 10. Like it's little like the little steps,
Those are some pretty high ceilings. Is that like a loft type space you're in now?
Oh yeah, I just noticed that.
Yeah, so this is a loft that my partner and I just moved into. That's in Kensington, Philadelphia. If anyone wants to come murder me, now you can drive around and find me. Yeah, it's like it's an old Stetson hat factory. It's like the oldest factory. It's like it's like the oldest factory in Philadelphia, I think is what they told us when we moved in. I don't know if that's true. I think it is.
Yeah, right. I mean, we'll say it is.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. We're like, we're really enjoying it. Lots of natural light. Like, our plants can get the sun and we can do all that stuff.
Yes. So. Oh, what an upgrade. Well, congrats. I will say that Hectophonic here in our chat is shouting out how cool your setup is and giving you props, because they also do video design and editing, and just that your stuff looks really cool. So they must be checking out your Instagram.
Thank you. I truly appreciate.
Oh. And right at that moment, we lost each other, but we're gonna join again. No one says we can't keep going. We just have to restart.
Hey.
So Grant will jump back in there, I'm sure, in a second.
I just got back in.
Yay! That was so fast.
Yeah, no. If anyone has questions, like if you check my stuff out after this, and you have a question about something, just message me. I'll answer you.
Yeah, it seems like is Instagram the best like hub for our people? Yes. You can find everything from there.
So, yeah, definitely. That's like where I do my bidding, for sure. So,
I'm gonna grab that link for everybody. I know I put it in a couple places already, but I'll put it in the chat too. I think this is it.
Only because I keep staring at it, because it's like right by where our camera is set up. I'm looking at
I know.
I have like a little collection of the LZX cadet units.
I love those. I wish they were easier to get. I would love a cadet system. That would be like, they're so cool.
I don't know if I want to keep it though, because like I'm so like not I just hadn't. I don't have anything else really. You know what I mean? And I was thinking about maybe
Yeah,
selling
that was
it.
our dream. Was like we wanted like liquid light projections for like even just in our studio, like doing videos. Uh, and we're like, well, that's unrealistic, but we could bring video synth into it, and it was like around 2019
Do you
when we
think
were
there's
in
any
Brooklyn.
interest in that if
But
I were to
we
sell
never
it secondhand?
took it any further.
How complete of a system is it? Is it like a complete system?
No, I mean it's like I mean I have like the items that are like harder to get now, like the video processor. Um,
I mean, you'd sell them on Reverb in like 2 seconds, probably.
Oh
oh,
But
wow.
okay. There's
as long as you weren't like asking insane prices.
no, no. I already told you
Yeah,
that's not my
yeah.
style. I mean, I'm
If
not
you
trying
had,
to gouge, but I also don't want to necessarily like give them away. You know.
yes, no. I'm very much on the. I'm a very much big believer in like, well, what is this really worth? Like, stuff goes up. 808s aren't $2,000 anymore. Like,
Yeah.
like
Right.
they were when they came out. So like, yeah. I mean, they're super cool. I don't know if there's quite as big of a demand on them singularly on their own, but if you have like a set of them, like someone will buy, like someone will definitely buy
I would
that.
probably sell this. I would prefer to sell the set anyway. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just because it'd be I could put one price on it.
Yeah, make
But
your life
I'll have to think about it then. And
Is it that you were waiting to get more, and
yeah,
you couldn't
you
get
know,
it? You kept being like they're out of everything.
I built the ones that I built the PCBs that I had basically, and then I was sort of like, well, you know, and then they kind of stopped like making modules, and you know, because of supply chain
Yeah.
issues or whatever.
Yeah.
And they canceled their original series. I forget what that series was even called. Um, and I just, you know, kind of like stopped. I realized that like, you know, there's only so many things you can be good at, you know what I mean? And like I just felt like I don't really have the time to invest in or the interest, I would say, in like getting better at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Very fair.
I'm more of a musician, you know, I'm not a
It
video
felt like it
synth
was
guy.
like a distraction for your brain.
It was one of those
almost.
things where I was like, well, let's build a few of these and see what we can do and see what they do, and then if you like them, like maybe you get more into it. And I was like, well, I maybe I didn't like take with me, you know.
It's probably just gonna come back around. You're gonna get rid of it all, and then like in 6 months, you're gonna be like, you know what I'm really into right now? Video synth stuff.
I mean, I've kept it around for a long time.
It's true.
You know what I mean? Like I've given it that.
You've been
chance.
waiting.
I've
Yeah.
given it that chance, and I just feel like it's, you know, if I could sell the set that I have and get like a Roland SP404 MK2, which I actually really want.
That's a good.
That's a good swap.
Yeah.
I would do that. Yeah, if you're if you're not stoked, if you're not like, and the thing about video synthesis too is like you kind of do need. It's not really casual friendly, like if that makes sense, because
that's
it's
what
like,
I'm realizing. I guess that's my point. Is that like I bought like a few things and realized like I would have to just I would have to keep investing in this, and I just don't want to. You know what I mean? It's more that.
It requires it's just a lot. It costs a lot to have a setup that like makes sense to have, and then like if you're going to spend that money, like you need to have the time to use it. Like it's an investment, not just like financially but like emotionally and intellectually. And so like I don't think there's anything wrong with like being like, yeah, this just isn't for me. Like I feel that way. I do it all the time, and I do music videos professionally for people, and I'm like, I hate this every other day. It's it definitely like it I mean, I think the other thing that I think about it too is that like I'm a big proponent of like, if you're not using a piece of gear, like sell it for what you paid for it, and like let someone else have the chance to like enjoy something, because like
it's literally collecting dust, honestly. Like I have it, and I has not moved from the place that I put it, and it really hadn't moved from the place that I had it before that in like a year. You know what I mean? So like I feel like if something just goes unused for like a year, I have no business using it, because the stuff that I use like all the time,
it's all about having it in front of you too. I think
I use daily. You know what I mean? Like I'm like literally in it. You know what I mean? Like every day I wake up and like I have like a spreadsheet of ideas that I'm going to try on this stuff. You know what I mean? And like I just haven't gotten there with the video stuff, and honestly, I just feel like I would be a poser to try to get into it at this point. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd go so
Yeah,
far
that's
as
a
to say
little
that, but
extreme.
I mean, I don't know. I'm like a day job. I'm like a day job guy. Like I don't have infinite time for stuff, and so like I think for me, I'm at that point in my life where like I need a piece of gear to like do what I need it to do and to do what I want it to do, and I also want it to like speak to me at an emotional level, which part of the reason why I love Buchla is because like Buchla, like it just it does something for me. I don't know what, but it does something.
oh, I
We
mean,
I think
all feel it.
we
Yeah.
get it.
but I think with like the video stuff, like yeah, like you two are busy. You have a lot going on. You have a lot of like pots on the stove or whatever, and
Oof.
like think about it. Like you could sell it, and whoever you sell it to might change their life, and then you might need that
Exactly.
money to get a piece of gear that might like change your life or like might
Right,
be like
right.
the sound of your next record, like so I'm big on like if you're not using something, if you're not like really attached to it, move off it, like
Yeah.
there's so much stuff in the world,
There's so much stuff.
so much
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. Well, there's so much stuff that I do use, like I said, and it's more just that, it was almost like a hobby that I was like, could this turn into something more than a hobby? No, it didn't. Okay. You know, like then
Yeah.
I don't have time for it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's like this idea that because we have access to everything or whatever, like maybe we could do all things.
well, I
Just
thought
like
maybe like, my original vision for it. I mean, we're spending a lot of time on this, so I kind of want to move off after this. But like my
From
original
you
vision for
personally.
it was, like maybe it's something, and I have like the banana to 3.5-inch jack, little low gain converter module thing, that I was going to use with it. And I was like, maybe I could just like, have some CV from the Buchla going to it and like, doing some stuff. Like maybe I like run a DVD that I've made of some weird shit, into it and like, just monochrome, like colorize it and like just start letting things happen basically through CV and almost get like an auto generative thing going on. Maybe I have like a feedback patch going on with this old camcorder that I have, or something like that. I have like a little monitor, that like one of those like
It's in here, but you can't see
Sony, like little Trinitron displays, and I was like, maybe I just have this stuff going on in the background and we can like, have it be like a backdrop for stuff that we do. But what I'm realizing is it just, in order to get something really keen out of it, like it requires more of your attention and investment, I would say both physically and emotionally.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that, before I had it in
Yeah.
front of me. You know what I mean? Like that's sort of what I've come to determine about it.
Yeah, I think that's common. I always look for people who buy LZX stuff thinking that they can just like set it up and it can like do its thing while they're performing, and then they realize it's like much more difficult. Not saying that this is what happened to you, but just saying like
I mean,
No, it very much, yeah.
yeah. I mean, that
I've heard
describes
this.
it.
I've heard this story before, and I'm always like, well, that's a shame. You should sell me that at MSRP. Like,
Right. Yeah.
I'm trying to develop a performance where I do Buchla stuff with LZX stuff at the same time, and it's like an audio visual like immersion. It's so hard. I'm not gonna say the F word because I don't know if I'm allowed to curse.
No,
on
you
this.
can. Feel free.
It's so fucking hard. It's like it's really because it takes your entire both things takes so much attention. But yeah, it's I respect that's not everything is for everybody.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
good.
And it's more of like a humbling thing, it's like, yeah, like I don't want to try to be all things, experimental, audio visual, you know what I mean? Like, and it was kind of silly of me to think that in the first place,
It was enticing though.
Yeah. I mean, we were both super stoked on the idea of it initially, but it was just, it ended up being something that may not stick. But that's we can move away from this topic.
Hopper Monkey is talking about the Vidiot.
Oh yeah, the Vidiot.
Vidiot aging camcorder with composite out, Blackmagic capture box.
Oh, you're talking about my setup right now.
I think I almost have a Vidiot equivalent with my cadets. I would say.
Yeah.
I would say I'm pretty close to a Vidiot.
You probably do. The architecture is very similar. The Vidiot's really cool. If anyone can get one for not a crazy price, I have one that I just traded. It's still sitting in my place because I'm waiting to ship it. But
Oh wow.
yeah, I'm trading it for a Tachyons Plus Dream Weapon, which those are like the rarest glitch blocks on the planet. But
Sweet.
yeah, they're really cool. If you can get a Vidiot, man, that's what one of the other things that when I got that, I was just like that was, it changed my life. I tell people like the Vidiot changed my life, changed the trajectory of my life getting that. Same with the easel, like definitive moments. So if you ever can get one for like not a crazy price, like I think I got mine for like $1,000, which at the time was my entire tax return. I was like a teaching adjunct living in my dad's basement. I had no money. I got my tax return and then one popped up on Reverb for the exact amount of money that I got my tax return, and I bought it. Now the rest is history. It's all nothing. So that's my love story, my love ode to the Vidiot. If anyone is like on the fence about getting one, in the chat, not that I want to like blow it up, but it's all right. People know that. So,
yeah. No, we don't like it.
yeah.
I'm gonna break your heart right now, but I had one that I paid sticker price for, and I sold that a long time ago.
I mean, again,
for sticker price.
I mean, if you weren't into it, then it's not a loss. But yeah, I know what you mean.
But then I got back into it. Like I sold the Vidiot, and then I built all these cadets, thinking again, like once again, like I'm gonna try that. Like I don't know what it was with the Vidiot.
Maybe this journey isn't as over as you think it is.
I think it is though. Like, I'm not allowed. I'm actually calling myself out at this point. I'm saying no more. Like video Nazi.
those are famous last words, I think.
Yeah. No video synth for me.
Here's what I'll say, you guys. If you're coming to the East Coast or I'm out there, like just have me come do video at your show.
I mean, that's a no-brainer. That is a no-brainer.
Wow. I'm taking that as an offer. You just offered.
Yeah, I mean, totally. You guys are in what, Indiana, right?
We are, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not out there that often, but if I am,
I'll like Chicago, Detroit.
Yeah, definitely.
Or if we decide to, do like a Philly, New York,
there is
Boston, DC.
There's a potential for that. It feels like as time is moving faster than, there's like a tipping point, like as summer starts to end, it feels like time just goes like a landslide. It just starts to go so fast for the end of the year. So we had this like potential East Coast shows for the fall, but like it feels like we're already there. So I don't know if it's actually going to happen. But I like that you're throwing it out there again.
Offer's always out there.
Sweet. Well, if it's not too much trouble to flip your camera around, give us a little studio tour. I think we would love to do that.
I'm gonna kind of go in sections here. I'll show off the video stuff first. I'm gonna put my mic down, but so just bear with my camera seeing the boxes I haven't unpacked.
Oh, sure. No, we so appreciate you. Like, we had no idea when we asked you to do this. You were just like, sure. And I had no idea you were like in the middle of a move or anything. You were just so chill about it. So here's the real excitement, getting to see all of this stuff we were just talking about.
I already see a Liquid TV.
Yes. So that's actually Liquid TV. That's a televisor, which is like a cheaper kind of apparently the Liquid TV is like kind of a pain in the ass to use. So also they're very hard to get. So this is like my version of it. This is my like live case. It's like built inside of a Pelican case. I used to have this. This has gone through tons of iterations. This is the most recent iteration. My like main kind of the main thing with this case is that I used to have the Vidiot and the V4 mixer as the brain, which the V4 is down here right now. That's now outside the case.
That's an old, let me guess, it's an old Edirol video mixer?
Yes.
Yeah.
This one is glitch modified by a BPMC, also known as the Big Popper. He's a guy in Portland who does all sorts of glitch stuff. But yeah, it's really. I was gonna say, you selling your Vidiot in the past. The Vidiot to me, it kind of needs a good video mixer, like it really does. And when I got one of these, I actually got a V4 in a trade about the same time I got the Vidiot, and the two, they're like peanut butter and jelly. They're like Lennon and McCartney. They need to be together.
That
So
explains it.
yeah, so hold on, I'm trying to fiddle with my mic to make it not crackly. Okay. So we're business. Okay, so yeah, like this is the Pelican case. The idea of this is I just roll up to a gig and I open it up and I have like an HDMI, SDI analog cross converter in here, so I can just give the sound guy or whoever's there an HDMI out and they plug it into the projector and I'm good to go. Have all my monitoring like in it. And yeah, this current version, I have the Visual Cortex now, which is like the main LZX brain module that's not the Vidiot. I'm very much still like learning the ins and outs of like using that as like the driving kind of force of the setup. I did a gig like a couple nights ago, this past weekend, and it went all right. I definitely like learned some things about this system, but it's an ongoing process. I really like kind of having these like all like I really like the Pelican case like setup where it's just like you open it, that's what's in there. You have limited space. You got to like make do with the space you have. And yeah, and so I have like my monitoring like in here, so you can see like I have like some screens, and the lighting's not awesome. So
no, it's all coming through great. I think because you have.
Is there a picture of this on your Instagram at all?
So this case, you guys are getting like a live exclusive. I don't have any like video footage of this on my Instagram yet. I will soon. I definitely will soon. And in fact, if people are interested, like that gives me like a nice push. Also, that's just like an iPad 2. You can get iPad 2s for like $50, and it's running this old VJ software called Color Code VJ. This guy, Cats Full of Ghost, who's like another video guy who's really cool. He turned me onto this, and it's like this VJ software that's like $25 on the App Store, and then iPads are $50, and then you can text yourself. You set up your iMessenger on it, and you text yourself video clips, and you can put the video clips in, and then you have a sweet little video sampler. And so as you can see, I have like the Yu-Gi-Oh intro video playing on it right now because I do like a lot of vaporwave shows in Philly because I'm like there's a couple of vaporwave labels I'm associated with. But so that's like the other thing is like I have the mixer, I have the video synth, and then I have the glitch aspect of the mixer, and then I have like this little sampler up here which I can like play. I can just like click different things, and like this is Super Monkey Ball and Kirby Air Ride. It's just like the Miami Vice intro. So yeah, it's the video setup. Yeah, I don't know if anyone has any questions about it in the chat or anything, but let me know.
Very cool is the consensus. I think it's kind of that, like you were saying, that Charles Cohen thing. Like, it's like, I don't know what my questions are, but this is cool.
Yeah, let's zoom in a little bit and do like a panning of it so you guys can get like.
Oh, yeah, that helps.
Tripod is like.
Let's see.
Yeah, so up here, this is like my main monitor.
Yeah, there we go.
And then that's like my video sampler, which is again like really cool. If you can just get some old iPad 2s and like a video mixer, like a V4 or an old Panasonic video mixer, just get a couple of cheap iPad 2s and like load it up with this stuff. You can do entire sets with just that. And like I've thought about it before. I'm like I should really do like whole sets with just these like cheapo video samplers and the mixer. But then this is the system. A lot of stuff in here right now, but I have another little monitor in here. And I have
Does anybody make a new video mixer?
No, they don't.
That's an area of opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, if someone did, it would be incredible. Actually, I take it back. Roland does produce the V4 EX still. You can get them off Sweetwater. But they're kind of strange in that they're analog. They have like analog ins and outs. So if you want to like do analog video like I am, you can, but like they don't react the same way as like the old school analog mixers is from what I've heard, which like, the thing that's like cool about these V4s and stuff is you can do, let me zoom in on the screen here if I can do that. You can do things like plug the input of your video mixer into the output, and there we go, and do feedback. So like I can do things like mirror it, but then I can also go and do stuff like this and get like these feedback trails and like I can like key to feedback and stuff like that to get these like puddles. And I can like colorize the feedback. So like more newer,
that's
more
dope.
digital, more like digitally
Mhm.
mixers tend to not have the same properties of feedback and things like that. One thing I know, and I don't want to go down this wormhole necessarily, but just for anyone that's interested, every video mixer I've ever used has been completely different in terms of like its flavor and its behavior and like what it's good at and what it's bad at. At one point, I had like 5 video mixers, and I didn't want to get rid of a single one of them because they just like all had their quirks that were like really unique and special. So yeah, crazy kind of world to get into. You can just like you can do whole video sets with just video mixers if you're like a madman and you want to, or mad woman or mad person and you want to do that. So
That's
yeah,
dope. You
that's
just gave us like a little crash course in that.
yes, absolutely. I hope I'm encouraging people to go buy cheap video mixers.
Yeah, you're definitely making it seem a lot more
Yeah,
chill.
the iPad 2 like video sampler thing actually sounds pretty attractive to me.
Yeah, and you can get like little DIY glitch circuits. Like Syntony, Bastien, he's this French gentleman who is very cool, who makes like DIY video synth modules, and he has a couple like glitch units that are like DIY that are like, you know, $150, and they look awesome. They're really cool. So you could get something like a V4 for, you know, a couple $100. That's probably going to be the biggest investment, but then you can get something like an iPad or even a VHS, get a couple of VHS decks, and then you can get some like cheap DIY circuit, and you can start to do like tripped out lo-fi, like, you know, video projections for like your band or your friend's band or whatever. That's how tons of people get started with this stuff. So
quick digression from your tour. I noticed that there was a DIY item on your website.
oh yeah, I have a lot of stuff, DIY stuff on my website because like I said,
video
I archived
something visualizer.
Yes. Yeah, so the artificial ocean generator.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you mind telling us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that was a project I did a couple summers ago. I think it was like the first pandemic summer. And it basically is 2 VGA converter boxes. So they make these like little converters to take composite video and convert it to VGA, I guess because like you needed them to use computer monitors for analog video. I don't know, but the signals are like similar in how they function. But basically what you do is you get 2 of those, and you take the output of one and put it into the other, and take the output of that one and put it into the other one. So you create this like Ouroboros of video converter feedback, and you can like use the settings on them to dial in these like crazy feedback loops. And then what I did, like my secret sauce on and take on this, because this is a design that's around on the internet, like I didn't come up with it, full disclosure, but I put a glitch circuit that I designed myself in the middle, very simple, but that I put in between the loop. And so it creates like this really crazy, like gooey, liquidy, like deep space, like nebula wave kind of effect. And yeah, I still have it. I can actually, let me see if my headphone cable is long enough for me to get over.
Like some web telescope shit.
Yeah, it's definitely on that. It's definitely like of that kind. I'm gonna put my mic down for a second so I can grab it.
Sure. This is so trippy to watch.
I know. I'm like,
ooh, I'm going into the light. Let's check on the chat. Let's see. Oh, there's been so much going on. Thank y'all for hanging out and having so much cool stuff to contribute to our conversation. Oh, Rayanism! Join the chat. Welcome.
welcome, Rayanism.
We'll have to have you on too. This is our inaugural guest series event here. Video mixer is clutch. We agree. We're learning so much about this.
Yeah, be careful about being in the chat. We might ask you on the show.
Yo. Like Sarabelle reads, no input mixer.
Yeah,
that's
a good.
Yes.
Would you say that that's sort of like in the ballpark?
Everyone in this chat is so smart and has so much good stuff.
Knows what's up.
Everyone knows what's up. There you go. That's what I was trying to say.
My lighting situation, although subpar, I'm trying to get it in the good light because then I can kind of give you guys a better.
Yeah, no, I think it's all working. I mean, yeah, it's not like super bright, but it's like yet somehow the thing that you have in focus is like bright enough, you know?
There it is. It's got, you know, it's got 6 knobs, it's got some buttons. I'm like a huge fan of like minimal design, and I like every knob to be like important.
Yeah. Totally.
So like,
oh, what a concept.
Yeah, the thing I love about the easel is that, like, you could be, you could just figure it out. It's not, it's just a brilliantly designed interface. So like, this, these are RGB, but you don't really even need to dial them in that much. They're more like subtractive, and then the black knobs are like the glitch knobs, and they have like a pretty small range of where you want them to be. And so like, it's very performative. Like, you really need to like be looking at what you're doing and feeling it. So it's supposed to be this like glitch performance feedback instrument. I should revisit it. I haven't, and it's partially because it's hard for me to build stuff nowadays, because like I work a full-time job and I make art like for money too, and I have like a partner, and I have like, I like to sleep sometimes, so it is but yeah, I mean, I have like a pretty decent number of like demos of this online. So if anyone wants to go check it out, message me and I can send you the PDF. Lo-Fi Future, if anyone knows that guy, he has like a really nice PDF that breaks down like the basic concept of how to set one of these up. Now, again, mine has like the special sauce. That's my thing. But like, if you're nice and you message me and you're sweet and friendly, I might just tell you what it is. So I don't really care.
You heard it here. Keep it sweet. You'll get what you need.
I'll send you my secret stash of PDFs of glitch circuits.
I love it.
So yeah, that's kind of the video world at the moment. No liquid light setup right now because I do not have enough tabletop space, and it can be a bit unwieldy. But yeah,
you can relate to that. We're always like, oh, but we'd need another desk. Table.
Yeah.
Wow. We have like 8 tables in here. I'm like, there can't be another thing we need. How is this possible?
I mean, I'm actually very gracious for space being the limiting factor, because
yeah, we like that there is a limit,
because it helps. Like I don't want to be able to use everything at all times.
You alluded to some of that in our conversation this evening. Just the idea of, when there's limitations in place, it allows you to flourish.
Yeah, I'm a gigantic limitations fan. I think that well, the other thing too for me for the space thing is like, I didn't have a car for a long time, and so like I was taking the subway and like the train to my gig. So it was like, I do not want to have, like, I physically can't carry that much stuff, and like the more stuff you carry, the more likely you are to break something. And I used to use like Tascam Porta Studios Live. I used to do a lot of tape loop stuff, and so those, like, you have to be really delicate with those. Like, you can't slam those against the subway bench. Like, so to me, like, I'm always trying to pare down, even though like I have more resources and I have a car now and like all that. Like, I always like to try and boil things down to like their most essential. Like, that's good comedy, right? Like, a good comedian knows how to like, you can't take one word out of the joke. You can't take a single word out of the joke, otherwise it won't work. And there's no fat. Like, that's how I approach my live setups, and like how I work. It's like, I want there to be 0% fat. Like, it's boiled down to the essential parts. So
I definitely respect that personally. That's a big thing for me as well.
Yeah, it just feels good. It feels good when you're using everything and you don't need anything, and everything is in motion. Like, that's Zen.
Yeah, that's the art of Zen.
Like, I'm literally just always trying to figure out, like, the other day even, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna use, I have like a Pro Tools rig from like literally Y2K, like a TDM rig, and I'm like, I'm gonna use that as a quad effects unit, because I have like a couple channels of aux sends on my mixer, and I'm just going to turn this Pro Tools rig into a digital effects unit, because I have it and I'm not necessarily using it every day, so I'm gonna do something with it.
Oh my gosh, we're at another 10-minute. That's so funny. How does time pass? No, what's your dog's name?
Oh, so that was Parker. He's my friend's dog. He's a German short-haired pointer. He's very sweet. He earlier when I first started talking, he was over here and he was very distraught because I think he thought that, like, I don't know. I don't think he understands what a Twitch stream is,
Oh,
so I think
really?
he was a little freaked out by it. Like talking into space. But yeah, now he's just kind of wondering. I gotta take him out in a little bit. So, but he's good. He's a good boy. He's when I work from home, he just kind of sleeps and keeps me company.
Aww,
so,
that's so nice.
But yeah, animals, they're awesome. They're cool.
So good. They
Um,
can sometimes not be super into the synth sounds.
Yeah, well, that's funny you bring that up because my partner and I did a modular on the spot in Philly not that long ago, and it was outside. It was like kind of, it was like end of April, early May, and so it was on UPenn's campus. And so my partner was like, "Oh, let's go. It'll be nice. We're gonna go out to dinner afterwards." And she brought the dog, and he's usually so like friendly and like he's very happy-go-lucky, like sweetest dog. And he was so freaked out by like he was like I've never seen him so distraught by like the synth sounds. So
Yeah,
she
we've
had to
had
like
that
go,
experience.
yeah. So she had to like go and like they like walked around, and then she like went back. She like went back to the car for a bit with the dog, and it was like really, yeah, it was quite a funny experience. But yeah, dogs. I guess synths and dogs, they're not. I guess that's the whole synth cat thing. Like cats love synth, dogs maybe not.
Oh, it's so interesting.
It's
Someone
like
in the
torturous. I
yeah.
noticed. Like we've actually mixed dogs and synths as well, and had a pretty similar experice. And it's
It
like,
was hard. It was like heartbreaking.
it's like
to watch
heartbreaking
their
because
response.
you like they're communicating emotions that from such things as like the worst thing you could possibly do to them, and you're like, no, like I don't want you to feel that way. I love this, like I don't want you to
it's
feel
really
that
sad.
way about synths, but they do, unfortunately, and it's
Yeah,
sad.
cats seem to be.
And then I'm like, of
very
course,
into it.
dog whistle. Like we basically have a fucking expensive dog whistle.
Yeah. I could imagine it being like a frequency thing. I don't know. I guess
They're
that makes
hearing
sense.
stuff we can't hear. Clearly.
Yeah, that's like the most obvious. Maybe someone should make like a synth record for dogs that somehow cancels out those like you can use like phase cancellation or something to like.
Oh my god, I love this idea.
Yeah, that could be like the year of the dog and the synth coming together.
Yes. It's
so
like
yeah, if
Raymond
anyone's
Scott's
listening,
music
yeah.
for babies.
If anyone wants to steal that idea wholesale, I got no recourse.
Yeah,
so
we're kind of tapped out, so
yeah.
feel free anybody to pick it up.
I do not have time to do it anyway, so somebody else can.
But we want it to exist, so
yeah, absolutely
amazing. Well, let me check on this. Yeah, we have, just like these few minutes left on the Zoom call, which I feel like is a good, as we talk about limitations, a good way to keep us limited on this call. And gosh.
Yeah, let me think if there's anything else I want to. I mean,
yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. It's been kind of like
I have a big question for Grant.
Ooh, yes. Go for it.
Are we synth friends now?
Ooh.
We're synth friends now. It's official.
It's official now.
You guys are like, no one's had me on their stream before, like, so that's yeah. I mean,
oh my gosh.
Super flattered. I mean, I'm a fan of your guys' work without a doubt.
Same,
so
obviously.
Yeah, I super appreciate it, and it's been cool, and yeah, I mean, I hope people, I don't know if I said anything valuable, but if I did,
absolutely. I can tell by
great.
the chat that like everyone's super stoked on everything.
We're lighting up for this, yeah, absolutely.
Talking about like the video stuff. I think for a lot of people on here, they're already pretty into synths, so like the adjacentness of the video stuff is very interesting because we don't talk about it as much.
It's a
obviously.
wild one.
Yeah, but everybody's into it.
Yeah, the one audio thing. So I mean, everyone knows I'm like into Buchla at this point. But the one thing I will say as like my closing like audio thing, I have been using I got a Polyanda tracker not that long ago.
Yes.
If anyone's like interested in tracker stuff, which I knew about them because like I've listened to Venetian Snares and Aphex Twin, like I know what a tracker is, but I've loved it. It's so cool. I'm still learning the ins and outs. And if you want to talk about limitations, like they're very nice in that they're not DAWs and they're not like a Swiss Army knife. Like they're very good at certain things. They can't really do other things. Yeah, it's just a really cool way. I think we all think like my problem is like I'm so Ableton brain. I've been using Ableton for like over a decade that like I tend to just do the same shit all the time. And doing the tracker stuff, like it's been amazing because it's like made me think about music differently and think about like programming sequences differently. So that would be like my new thing in the audio world I've been experimenting with is the tracker. And like I highly recommend people to like, if you're curious about it, like give it a shot because it's been super rewarding for me.
That's dope. Thank you for sharing that. I'm just gonna check the chat real quick.
We might have a little more, like I might talk to you about that more in
Oh,
detail
yay.
over chat or something. But
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's yeah, I love it. It's cool.
The
I could talk about
DMs
it.
are open. It looks
Please.
like there's just a consensus. We got some super cool people in the chat that we're down with, and they all agree that we are officially synth friends. It's real, and it was fun, and that is always good to get immediate feedback that you're not screaming into the void.
And in a fun, if someone's given it the review of fun, that's
and
literally
discovered a
like
new artist. Yes, definitely. I dropped the Instagram, but I'll grab that link.
Fun is
again.
like my favorite word. So like that literally, that's the best thing you could possibly say about anything that we do here.
That's our whole that's like our whole point of existence at this point. Like ever since obviously like the world basically ended and we're all just still living. And so it's like if you're not having fun, then you shouldn't, just don't do that. Only have fun, because you could, there's everything exists, and you might as well choose what makes you happy.
I agree. I think this was a lot of fun. I think you guys are fun, and I appreciate you having me. And yeah, if anyone like has questions or whatever, just like message me. I don't really think I have anything to plug. I have a new record that's coming out in the fall. That's like all Buchla stuff.
Oh,
It's
sweet.
Wow.
It's like really a Buchla record. Like I was trying to emulate Cortini on it. Like I was like, this is gonna be my Cortini record. And I did one with the record label Delusional Records in LA. I did like a techno 2-piece that is like it's like Buchla techno. So, and that's called Shadows and Afterglow. And if you go to my page on my Instagram and go to the link tree, it's up in there. But yeah, keep an eye out for the new record. I don't know when it's going to be out yet. It's going to be out on this label, Harmony Index. And like I just got the artwork back today, and I got to get it mastered, but I don't have any money right now, so that's gonna be a couple more weeks.
It's a whole process.
Yeah. So it's coming together piecemeal, but it's cool. I'm really excited about it. I think it's a really cool record. So yeah, just keep an eye out. If you have questions, like hit me up. I'm more happy to talk over chat or whatever. And yeah, thank you guys. It's been like super cool. I was like really excited when you asked me to like come on. I was like, whoa, cool.
That's amazing. Yes, we're so glad that you were willing to do this, because this was an experiment for us and it seems to have worked. So here we are.
And we wanted to come out with a banger, you know, so you were the banger guest.
Somebody told me that word is dead and we can't use it anymore.
No, nothing banger's dead. No Gen Z kid is
yeah, no one's using that. Anyway, yeah. Definitely I dropped your Instagram link in the chat, so everybody go follow Grant on Instagram, and if you have any follow-up questions, send those DMs if you're sweet, only if you're sweet. And we have about a minute left on this call, so I want to make sure we get to throw all that out there, and keep an eye out for his new record that's coming out if you love Buchla, which I know everyone here does.
Also, if you're in Philly, just like message me. I'll get coffee with you if I'm not like working. So yeah, if you're in the Northeast and you stop in the city, I might not be around, but if I am, I'm always happy to hang. So
I love it. Well, I hope we get to meet IRL one of these days.
Yeah, totally. Let me know.
One of us will be going in one of the directions, and we'll connect. I know it'll happen.
Absolutely. If that tour materializes, let me know. I'm around. So
we will. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We'll see you on the internet.
Yes. See you on the World Wide Web.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for being here. This was super fun, and we will see you next time.